good morning, David. I see you popped in there. Um, yeah, no, there's amazing places. So, isn't it? It's nice. The one system we use to book places is Harvest Host. So, there's not that many in LA. So that's why we're at a RV park right now, which is fine. But no, it's nice visiting vineyards and breweries and other places and just, talking to the locals and, suggesting that they get proper listings on Google My Business and suggesting they should do some YouTube videos because realistically, when people are planning their trips, they're looking for cool places to hang out. And we've done road trips for in the US since like 2006. So, or 2008, something like, yeah. No, yeah. So we've been doing road trips from Canada to the US for like 20 years. But how do you find these cool places? You gotta do internet research, look places up on the internet, and it's nice when there's reviews and photos and more so videos because right now since COVID, you're not really sure what's still open and there's a lot of misinformation on the internet or stuff used to exist and it doesn't exist now. So that's why, travel around and tell business owners, hey, you should at least make some video content, get some videos on your website, get started with some video content so that way when people they discover you've got some content, you got some reviews, they can add to your content, they can add to the reviews and help you reestablish your business and all that fun stuff. But I Yasmin and Radio Bob's up in Sacramento. They're like, "Hey, when you come into Sacramento," and I'm like, "I wasn't planning to come to Sacramento this trip, but then I know Doctor Rob's out in San Diego." So
Yes, he is.
there's all these cool people all over California, and I don't really have any, we have no set plan. So it's just like work wherever people are friendly and access to everything's easy, and there's not too many, Las Vegas doesn't really have, where we're parking, there's like no homeless people. So California, you see it a lot more, but it's not a big deal. But I just don't like Canada, I saw it. So, when you're parked we don't like parking at Walmart parking lots, but sometimes you have to, more so in Canada, you have to than the US. I just love waking up at 7 a.m. to take the dogs out and there's somebody sitting outside my truck. So how is everybody doing this week?
Rough week.
Oh yeah, I agree. This is why I choose to spend my December summers warm because it's my birthday month and mental health is always fun around your birthday because you're just like, I'm getting older and what have I accomplished this year?
No, it has been a tough week. The astrology and the charts were this is a tough week. It's we're clearing a lot of things of what we need to let go of, and this coming week is very much about going into what we're going to create for 2026. So there's a lot more potential and stuff, but yes, that is why everyone was feeling very cold. It was interesting being at this event yesterday about mental health and how many people were called to go to it because clearly, well, I was talking about a statistic that before 2020, statistically, it was like 80% of adults had some level of mental health issue. And now, now after 2020, it is, I would say it's probably 100% at some level. Maybe there's that 0.1 that it isn't struggling at some point. But it's definitely, we're in a mental health crisis, clearly, is kind of the point, I guess. So it's about finding the way to keep your stability and levity and sanity while we're making it through this time, right?
Well, I moved my mom this week to another facility on Monday. Tuesday, I had a car accident, totaled the car. Wednesday
Well,
and
sorry.
Thursday, had to take her to the dentist and get oral surgery. And Friday, I kind of said, okay, can we move that appointment to next week? I think
You
I
know
had
what?
enough.
You're explaining exactly the type of week that it was for sure. Like that's awful, Jeanette. But you survived it. There's the positive thing. You made it through the week, right?
Yeah. Aches and pains, but I'm okay.
How are the two Davids doing? Oh, David
Are
looks
you,
like he's got.
y-
Mr. Ridenour, did you injure yourself?
you're both on mute?
I I did this after our meeting last Saturday. I went out
Oh,
for
we got.
a walk.
What? Like this really was a good week for everybody, wasn't it?
What
Well, that
happened to you, What happened to you, Julie? What happened to your laptop this week?
Oh my God. Okay. So we're out boondocking in the BLM, so that's the land, like the free land. And I'm out with the dogs and it's beautiful and I'm on the computer working. The dogs throw the toy at me because they wanted me to throw it. It causes my laptop to go flying and I broke my laptop. So I don't even have a laptop anymore. So yes, it's been a great week, everybody.
Uh,
you-
This is why I tell everybody they should have backups because at least, the MacBook is destroyed. But everything's backed up. So she's using her 5-year-old, 6-year-old MacBook. So anyway,
There
it's
is
just been a
no
bit.
give when it falls on rocks. And I'm like, you know what? They might
No.
be using, all I can think of is NASA's video of Mars is where we were camping. And that is exactly the ground that it fell on. And there's no give to that. No give.
Hmm.
So that's okay. This is why we normally carry multiple devices. But it's not her main thing for YouTube anyway. I think she's usually using her phone for YouTube videos. So could be a worse situation, but we're like, okay, this is how this week's going. No vehicle break. Our vehicle's fixed. We were able to leave Las Vegas and drive to LA, so at least the vehicle's fixed. And but it was great going to that YouTube event last night. Oh, Kristen's here. How's your week been, Kristen? Are you doing better than the rest of us?
Actually, I don't really have many complaints except I bailed on some Christmas parties because I decided I just didn't want to people. Um, but other than that, and trying to raise toys for this charity that, I mean, we're kind of struggling this year like everybody else. I don't really have any complaints. Worked on the thumbnails and uploaded 7 of the episodes into YouTube to be
Okay.
ready to publish, and working on the other 15 12 this week, but we found out they only let you pre-upload so many a day for pre-publishing, just to get them all
Oh, yes,
set.
because you don't have an established account yet. So I
Right,
did run
right.
into that early on. I did because now that you're reminding me, I'm like, oh, I ran into that once as well,
Yeah.
which was early on when I was in YouTube as well. But that is awesome, Kristen. And your not wanting to people is. I'm not going to talk about it, but I am going to talk about it because I've been doing these weekly lives about the charts is completely in alignment with the week. Was don't over socialize and over push yourself. So you're right in alignment with that. So that's awesome. But
Yeah.
yes, that is something I totally forgot can happen when you're early on with your YouTube and load too much, or not too much, but more because you've been essentially you had nothing on that account and now you're or not as much, right? And then when you start suddenly putting a bunch of content to be published, it targets it in that it's like, oh no, now you got to take a little break and then you can do it
Yeah.
again like in 24 hours or something. Is that what you got for a message?
Yeah, you can only do it's like 3 or 4 per day. I can't remember. And then so we've just been putting them up as they're done, as they're completely edited. And then all we had to do was add the thumbnail because we had a little controversy within inner workings that I didn't want you know, da da da, looks like cartoony, flashy, almost reminds me of ones that are sensationalized. This is a little bit more classy. So
Oh,
we went through a few,
your thumbnails.
yeah, we went through a
Yeah,
few
yeah, yeah,
edits.
yeah. You
We
didn't
did a
want
few
the
edits.
auto-generated clickbaity ones that they like to. Yeah, yeah. No, I
Yeah,
get it.
that's
But you
that's not my
also,
brand.
but you would have also run into the issue that you can't upload thumbnails until you have two-factor authentication turned on your YouTube. So there's a couple. When you're a new YouTube creator, there's a couple little hiccups that there's just hoops to
Right.
jump through because they want to verify you're a real human. If you're uploading too many AI videos, yeah, like but this is the whole thing about learning.
Right.
how the platform is versus how it changes from year to year because the Katie Morton, the person, the YouTuber with millions of subscribers that we went to learn from last night. Um, we were just like the questions were like, "How do you get started?" And she's like, "Well, I've been doing it for 14 years. Like I've literally." But she doesn't do it herself. It's her husband her boyfriend, fiance, husband helping her. And she's like, "There's weeks where you just don't want to make content, and then." You get into a schedule or you tell yourself to do a schedule and then you fight against that schedule. And then when you start doing lives, you're going to have lives are great for getting engagement and getting subscribers, but then you have to put up with the peanut gallery. And sometimes your commenters are aligned with your channel and great. And then other times you get the ones drop it into the comment to drop the word 6-7 or just some ridiculous stuff. And you're like, okay, I'm trying to focus on my live here. And then the comments, the live comments are the peanut gallery, right? So it's like, how do you mentally keep doing your live and not get distracted by you're like, hey, I've got 50, 100, 200 people on my live, but I don't even know if these are my people or not because of the comment situation, and you're trying not to get distracted. Because I've had that
Right.
where I'm like, hey, I'm on a live video, and 5 minutes in, I forget what I'm talking about. But I have viewers, and I don't want to end the live stream until the viewer count drops down to 0. And you're like, I have to keep going and not internally scream about this, right? Because what your plan was doesn't end up being what the whole live is about. So it was.
I want
Go
before you
ahead.
go into more of that. When did your first video go live, Kristen?
It goes January 7th, I think, Tuesday.
Okay, perfect. Well, make sure you post that
Oh,
in the
okay.
Facebook group and stuff, so we can all go and check it out because I'm excited to see
Thank you.
this new content.
Yeah, definitely.
Want to put Facebook group?
Let's hope it's, good.
The reality. Okay, let's break this down. Let's go back to really what the topic was for the topic for the YouTube live event was really mental health. And the biggest thing that came up multiple times in kind of different ways was how to handle putting that stuff out, right? Like, and it's every creator's like mental thing is the comments and how they're perceived and having to get past it. And I think that's the number one thing that does burn out or stop people from making content is that concern and discomfort with what people are going to say, right? So that was what she's talking about. And she was talking about like, she's like, there's no perfect option for that, right? Like when you put it out there, it's literally like, I get it. When you create something, whether you're working with somebody or doing it yourself, you're literally putting yourself out there naked. So you might as well put yourself out there naked because
Yeah.
you're literally putting that out there and you don't know how you're going to have the people that are loving and supporting, and then you're going to have the opposite, right? And it's really about keeping that levity. Like often you may not even want to read the comments. And that's what she was saying. She just literally after the first hour, if she does a live, like Mike's talking about or whatever, she doesn't go back and read them. Just ignores
Yeah.
them, right? And that, and especially as you get more growth, you're going to get more of that. So the biggest thing is really how are you going to be perceived, right? And that is a huge step, is just getting that content out there and being like, you know what, it's okay. It's out there. That's all I can do. And you're going to attract the people that are going to benefit from it. And then, you may or may not get a lot of haters. It depends on how motivated the trolls are those days, right? But that is awesome that you got them scheduled, because I know that's the hardest thing, is getting the content and then getting them up there, working through the things where you're like, the thumbnail probably shouldn't be this much of a discussion, right? And you're like,
Or you get it up there and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I got to take it back down and I missed something to edit. Like an odd part of it that happened, or, we said we were going to take something out because it made another guest look bad kind of stuff. So you did all that work and you got it up there and you're like, hold on, take it back down, reorganize it. Yeah.
yeah.
But on the how it's going to look, I mean, I agree with that. It does stop people. It stopped me for the longest time. What I've learned, what I keep, like, I saw the thumbnail and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm all shiny, like, immediately. And I said, okay, I'm going to fix what I can fix. And what I can't fix, I'm going to chalk it up to being authentic.
Exactly. No, that is perfect. That is perfect. Well, that was also what Katie was saying,
Yeah,
right, Mike? She was talking about like not editing out things like you going or you not like being
Yeah.
perfect because people, and she talked about it as well, like the authenticity. People want to know you're not AI. They do. They want to know
Well,
that
they'll
you are
know.
not the AI person, right?
They will
Unlike
know for
Mike and your
sure.
some of your creepy videos, Mike, and your AI.
again,
They will know for
they
sure.
get more views than my real face, so I'm okay with that for now for engagement to
Yeah.
catch attention.
Yeah.
I'm not judging them. The only one who judges them is my wife, so it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it was no, that's why when I had asked her, I'm like, hey, we have this YouTube YouTube group that we teach every Saturday, and like what are your, because you've been doing it for so, like she started doing this Katie Morton from LA. Um, she's been doing it before monetization occurred. I'm like, well, what got you started? Because there's so many people who want to make videos, or like, I wish I was making money this way, or I wish I was building this group, or I wish I was promoting my book. And she's like, you just got to start without thinking there's going to be an ROI to it. You're just like, I'm literally documenting my life. She's a therapist. Obviously, I can't remember all of her all the letters behind her name, but she really got started because she's a therapist and she's having conversations with people all day long and driving her boyfriend nuts. And she's like, everybody runs into this stuff. Doesn't matter if you're a therapist, doesn't matter if you're cybersecurity, doesn't matter if you're helping people with dementia. Everybody's going to run into that at some point in their life, and they're going to be looking for advice. So if they can find you easily, watch they're gonna watch your content, right? So she's like, I just got started, but then I'm like, I don't know how to do the tech stuff. So she would record it, her partner would upload it, and she's just been doing it and doing it and doing it. And then she's like, well, I went to Instagram, but Instagram's all about pretty photos. That's not really me. That's exactly my Instagram. Like I've got, you know, more bigger audience on Facebook, and then YouTube, my Instagram, it's not pretty photos. I'm not playing Instagram properly, but when people ask me for my Instagram handle, I'm like, hey, I have a couple hundred followers. I'm more than happy to have you follow me. And then I look at these people and they've got like 50, 60, 70,000 followers. I'm like, okay, I'm not the Instagram pretty photo type of person, but I have the account. I'll put stuff there, not expecting anything. And then she was talking about how TikTok is like they want to see all your imperfections and your raspy voice in the bad camera angle. That's how TikTok works, right? So she's like, I put my stuff everywheres, but the YouTube audience is the largest, and they're the ones that she was literally like, it's it's a struggle for her to do TikTok, but she's like, I do it just to grow that platform and have people come back into my YouTube. And I'm like, that's the whole thing we're discussing in this YouTube university is just make content, put it everywhere, and just see what the feedback is, and where your content grows, because the audience is going to give you feedback and say, oh, hey, she also talked about changing up the content, right? Because um, you may lose momentum, and that's why we say, hey, do long form if you can. Shorts are great, but you're going to lose steam on your shorts if you're going to lose momentum on your YouTube channel if you have just shorts, but no long form and no lives, because once people discover you and like you, they're going to binge on all your content, right? So that's why when I started my YouTube channels, it's all long form. And now as I work to increase the subscriber count, I'm doing not really into shorts yet. Did a couple shorts, but it's more so lives. But then it's like how do you continue mentally continuing when you're like, oh, I don't seem like I have any subscriber growth, and my wife's doing really well with subscriber growth recently. So, but then she's got her. I think Julie's doing two lives per week at the same time. She's she's got them
No,
scheduled.
no, now you're saying now you're doing misinformation. I was doing the
Okay,
TikTok look. You can look at my nose while I talk, because I don't have a computer. I was gonna
it's
say,
once a week.
uh, sorry. Oh, okay. It's funny because it made me think about. Oh man, I lost the thought of what Katie had said that was totally related to that. About the seasons of the content. That was what she was talking. So that's really how she framed what Mike's explaining is seasons of content. So what she started with, like when she first started, she did a lot of Q&A. So people would go and ask her questions, and then she would be on live answering questions, right? Then she would do some stuff where it was more research based, and because she went through a different season where she was doing a lot of research, and then and then kind of more scripting it, which she didn't like as much. And she's like, and then she went on about how she dislikes top 5 lists. She's like, I'm not
It's
doing that. And then she went
that
into like the
it's called a listicle.
what? Sorry, what was it called?
A listicle.
A listicle, yes. I didn't know what the term was. I was like, oh, I've never heard that term before, right? So, and so really, she even talked about how content changes because you, as a creator, will go through these changes as well. So that comes back to something we talked about months ago about, you start with one type of content. It may not be exactly the same type of a content you evolve through with your channel, and that's okay because you might also being creative and adding that, like for her, answering questions is great, but obviously she gets to a point where she's answered all the questions that are really, now they're repeating, they're the same kind of questions, she's already made content on it, now she wants to extend, so you have to come up with something different, right? And that was another one that a lot of creators were bringing up, is that creator block, right? That's another big thing that comes up a lot with making content, right?
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, no, it was this is why you just keep making content. Um, well, she was saying, of course, when we, started this class, we're like, hey, every creator has a different path, so it's gonna be come up with ideas, script it if you want to. She brought up last night that she didn't really, you know, she would script it and then she felt non-genuine reading from a script when she was doing the videos. Then she's like, I threw the script out. But she didn't really throw the script out. She just took the script and changed it into bullets. And I'm like, okay, well, this is what we teach. It's like come up with your ideas. I said that one season's 13 episodes. That's how I was telling her about my training, and she's like, oh, that's rough, but that's just kind of what you want to do. Where it's you got 13 seasons, and then, you know, just group it because when I was trained to make content, it was like come up with 100 ideas, break that into your 13 episode seasons, and then have a script and memorize the script and stay true to the script. That was my training, which works for some people, but then that's only if you can't just look at the camera and talk about a subject for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes or however long you're going. Interviews are different, but then you can tell in some interviews where they're really um straight, so if you're watching other creators, some interview like Joe Rogan, things like 2, 3 hours, right? But he's obviously got experience. He's been on TV. They're not. It's not like it's rapid fire questions. He's got somebody. He's got his director in the booth. He's got his director Jamie in the booth in the room with him, pulling up details or facts or questions or whatever. So he's got somebody professional in the room with him, keeping that momentum going. But Joe Rogan stuff's even changed. Like season one to whatever he's doing now, it's come. I used to watch it a lot, but now I'm consuming more of our student stuff or people people I work with on the side where I'm like, okay, you know, here's what you've put up, which is great, but now we need to add more detail to your YouTube description and your thumbnails or your banners. What we're doing on our channels right now is I've changed my banner. We're like, okay, Julie and I, we've got we're trying to build lists, right? Because we're building apps, and we're like, okay, well, other than advertising on YouTube or advertising on Facebook or whatever, we should update our YouTube banners and have like a QR code. So when we want to build new email lists for our apps, and well, how do we get the word out about that? Is hey, we should update our banners and then do this and do this and do this. And so just all that behind the scenes work on the YouTube channel where if people are watching our stuff, we're adding more links and URLs and descriptions because our content's changed. Um, Definitely, our content's changed. My content when I started my YouTube channel's different than what I'm doing right now, and that's the seasons, right? We're like, okay, we're regular, we're making content, we're putting it up, adding some AI stuff into it just to see what how the audience reacts to it and see what the views and likes are like. Because to be honest, it can be challenging every single week, every single week coming up with content or editing, or sometimes you get stuck and you're just like, I made all this stuff and I want to put it up, but I don't feel like putting it up. Maybe I should just do some shorts or, live, that's
And
what,
that was very much, even talking to the creators, that's what talking to the other creators that were there at the event was very much like I met a creator that I have actually seen and is very, very successful. So I don't necessarily always recognize a lot of the YouTube creators showing up. My daughter will often at these events, but she wasn't, she wasn't able to go. It was personally for only creators that could go, right? And she's a creator, but she's not monetized, so you had to be
yeah, okay.
part of the
That,
group, right?
yeah.
Anyways, like meeting the one lady who I've seen, and I was like, wow, it's interesting because she really appreciated me going to talk to her, because this is also the thing when you become kind of YouTube famous. Like, she has like easily, I don't know how many followers. I think she has a couple million followers, and that's why I've seen her content, because it's all her shorts are really clicky and everything. She's talking about how she's hitting like this creative wall, and her things, which Mike is talking about, like when that motivation is, and when to like do stuff, and what should she make more content on. And so she's going back to school to help stem more ideas to create more content, right? So that is like the perpetual issue, whether you're she's like, I make a good living. And she was even talking about the platforms and how different the platforms is. And this is a really interesting thing, because her sister, who's younger, has been a little more successful on TikTok than she has been. She's been very successful on YouTube, and especially with shorts. She does like little tidbits of information, and they're really interesting. And she always do like a funny angle, or like have it reflect in a mirror and talk like that. So very authentic to the audience is how she's grown her channel, sharing something that she randomly learned. And she's like, I wasn't even randomly, just like we were talking about how people get their break, is sometimes these things that they don't even think should bring them the popularity. For her, was talking about a tip. It was a fact she thought was interesting, but she didn't specialize in it. It was like a psychology fact. And then she became known. She was like complaining a little bit about being known as a psychology girl, right? Like, that's how everybody knows me, because I've taught them these things. But I was in school for pretty much what me and Mike were doing, which is computer science, which is she's going back to finish. But as a side note, comparing the platforms, so her sister's been better on TikTok, and but doesn't make money, right? So it's interesting because her sister doesn't really make money, but gets free stuff sent to her. So she goes in her sister's room and she's got all this stuff that she's gotten from that platform. And she's like, okay. Where for her, it's actually subsidized. Like, she makes income. She makes money off her YouTube. She's like, nobody sends me stuff from being on YouTube, but she makes money, right? So it's interesting on how the platforms are, like, it does show that you really do want to be everywhere. And she found that she did a pretty decent growth through TikTok because she's had this platform on YouTube, right? But it is very interesting because we're all like talking to her, and then kind of seeing how those platforms are different, but this, like, you want to be everywhere, but the complete difference. Like, her sister finally has gotten a job, because she can't live off of her TikTok stuff. So it's all great. She gets all this free stuff, but you can't live off of the free stuff, right? So having that balance as well. But it was interesting, and being able to meet other creators and talk to them, and even ones that are very successful and are making livings off of it. They have the same issues you do right from the beginning as a creator. So that, just in case you think suddenly you're going to feel way more confident about making videos because you make money, no, you're going to come back into the exact same thing. So it's just like preparing that this is part of, I guess, the life of being a creator. Would you say anything? Am I right on that, Mike? What do you think?
I know TikTok creators who do well, but it's the same thing. It's the same thing where they are literally getting clothes or stuff sent to them, and because they've asked about um YouTube, and I'm like, this is why we say, once you've got YouTube content, repurpose it. Whatever you're like, you can use there's a bunch of repurposing tools that will connect to your accounts and share your data across. I don't know how your content is going to go do on each platform until you're actually making different content. but I know there's, I've got a couple friends and they're TikTokers and they're like, but then they also say, oh, well, um, I got to this amount of subscribers because what TikTok does is you TikTok's like a gaming platform, like it's a gamification platform where you go live and you'll have a TikTok account. We've done a bunch, but um it's not I don't really like I'm not the type of personality who likes gamified apps. So I will say, hey, go for you're doing great. Um stay on longer and we'll rebroadcast this to more people, which is okay. But then it's like, hey, if you give us $5, we're gonna blast 100,000 people with this. So you're literally paying. Some people are fine with that because they know that the more subscribers they're gonna get, they're literally just it's like a game. Like TikTok's like a game. You just the longer you go on, the more people you get to subscribe. The more challenges you do inside the TikTok app, they send more people your way and they'll send you products, but you're not necessarily getting paid. And I'm like, well, you can take all that stuff or do unique original stuff on YouTube. But I'm like, if you're already used to those dopamine hits you're getting from the TikTok platform, I don't know how, like, you may do amazingly well on YouTube and you may not. And if you're how many side hustles do you have? And if you can manage all that stuff in your schedule, great. There's a lot of people who do both and they do amazingly well at it. But I'm like, you still have to mentally survive the day. So, and a lot of people, they'll what they find is that the content that they're doing on TikTok doesn't relate over to YouTube. Or I know I've got I got a couple accounts where I'm recommending what type of content they should go into based on their analytics on Instagram or TikTok. And I'm like, hey, your videos of you in the gym outrank all your professional videos. So if you're interested on subscriber count increasing, do the physical activity videos as opposed to your TED Talks from stage. It's great to have your TED Talk from stage on your YouTube just for professional recognition and sending that link out to people who want to see your TED Talk, but nobody really wants to sit through and watch your TED Talk. They want to see you in the gym doing your workout or on the beach running. That's what your audience likes right now, and that's what they want to see everywhere where they go. And then if they're ready to buy your book, they'll go buy your book or sign up for your app or do whatever other call to
And
action.
and they will watch a clip from your TED Talk, but they probably won't watch the whole
I'm not
TED Talk.
gonna.
And
I'm
that is the
sorry.
truth,
I'm
unfortunately.
sorry.
People's attention
I'm not gonna
span
go watch your TED Talk.
short.
I'm not that audience who's gonna go watch the TED Talk.
No, well, and some people might, but I do know that you can definitely see with with content and stuff, people do not have necessarily a long attention span. Doesn't mean they don't. If they're super engaged in the content, they'll go into the long content. But it's like that is why always these what we've been doing and we've been promoting is like, especially if you do lives or your longs, like now that you'll have these longer form videos up, Kirsten, it'll be definitely worth making sure you've got shorts for them, right? Like promotional shorts that you can post. So then you don't feel like you're always just posting the long, because you can take these clips, you can put them on other social medias, because people may not go back and watch your whole video, but making those shorts, you can link it back. And then if they are really engaged, you get that click through, right? So it is that whole thing where the more variety, and again, it's just talking in a circle. Put your stuff everywhere because you don't really know what's going to be best. And then if you do really like, okay, if you love making those TED Talks, still post them. Like if it's something you love in your heart, even if there's not the return, you should be doing this because you love doing it. And yeah, if you get a higher return with those exercise videos, for sure do those, because those are going to pay off a little bit more. But I you got to do what you really naturally want to love, and put that out there, because people will resonate to it, and your frequency will attract the people, and it will pay off. But they may not be, if you want lots and lots and lots
My
of
my my
views,
my
that's not
point
maybe everybody, right?
my point is, if you're doing the workout video, more people, all the different personality types in the world They're like, oh, that's amazing. You can do that or that. It's usually short clips, whatever. There's going to be certain people interested in the TED talk or the stage talk or the speaker talk. There's going to be certain people interested in that. So have it there so you can send them the link, right? Because when people come to me, they're like, oh, I had this when I was in LA a couple weeks ago. And they're like, oh, the cybersecurity guys in the room, ha ha ha. We all hate passwords. And I'm like, that is why I created one YouTube episode on how to make passwords that you can remember, that you don't need a book, you don't need to use an electronic password manager for. I have created a system to make 16 character passwords that you can remember, unique passwords for all your 100 different things you log into that you can remember. It's on YouTube. I can send you the clip. Most people don't like passwords, so they're like, I hate them. I don't want to deal with passwords. And they're going to live in their continuous insanity of whatever method they're using. But there's going to be a certain section of the population who appreciates learning a new way of making passwords. They're the ones who are going to watch long form and work. And it's like a guide that they're going to work along with it. So but Kristen, with your when you get those like I know you had asked a couple weeks ago about making shorts for your episodes. When you get them created, feel free to send us a copy just so we can see what they look like because just for you know third party review or third party input or
So
social
we're just
input or
telling you, send everything you make and make sure you put it in the YouTube
but
class or
yeah,
group.
yeah. Just just share them so we can just see see the progress everybody makes because it's interesting to see what everybody's working on and it re-energizes us if we're having one of those weeks where we're like, okay, nothing's working out, but somebody else is making amazing content. So we're super happy that we can inspire you to make amazing stuff because I had a friend send me some videos over the past week, and I'm like, these are great. Let's make shorts from them so we can let's make shorts from them to put on your YouTube so we can drive people to your store. They're like, well, I don't know how to do that. I'm like, send me the video clips. I'll make you shorts and I'll upload. So I've been given manager access to their YouTube account. So I'm like, let me make you shorts from this video and I'm going to build your YouTube channel for you because you feel overwhelmed about it, and I'll step you through it because I want to make sure that Chip they wanted to they wanted to turn on YouTube shopping, but they're not monetized, so they can't turn on like YouTube's got the shopping ability, and I'm like, oh wait a minute, I should do that. So I've gone and turned. We're, I'm gonna go build there's swag stores that YouTube has built in, which I didn't really know about. And then, of course, during YouTube training, they're like, why is nobody using this function of selling their own branded swag through YouTube? And I'm like, that's doable. That's possible. Just something else I don't know about YouTube that's possible. So I'm like, hey, I guess I'll go turn on YouTube shopping and start slapping my logo on some shirt. Because um, when you have YouTube shopping turned on, when people are watching your video, you can tag the items you're talking about and they'll show up at the bottom of your screen. How
Competing with TikTok, I'm assuming.
how well that works out for you, but it's like, hey, if I go turn on this stuff in the background that YouTube wants us to do, maybe they'll boost my channel or spotlight us or say we're gonna give you some props for turning on stuff we've told you about, but you're not that interested in turning it on. But I've had somebody recently come and ask me about YouTube shopping, and I'm like, we need to build your channel before we can turn that on, but in the meantime we should build your channel and make some shorts about you have a clothing line. We should help you promote that because who does not like everybody's got to buy clothes. It's just one of those things you have to do in your life. And if we've got the power to empower you to build your platform and help you step through the stuff that seems overwhelming or everything seems overwhelming when it's websites and tech stuff until you have somebody who's done it before whip through it in a couple minutes for with you. So yeah, no, it's just all this fun stuff of meeting creators and learning what people are doing and what works well with them and what doesn't work and what they haven't had success with. But I know when we were chatting with the lady you were talking to yesterday, Julie, do you know how long she's been YouTubing or making videos?
I don't know. Let me just go look her up and I'll tell you because I
Because she was obviously I didn't recognize her, Julie recognized her, but then other people recognized her, so it was interesting because we had this other person come up and introduce herself, and she's like, "Oh, hey, I do this and this and this," and I'm like, "Oh my," I'm like, "You'd be perfect for my friend in Boston because she's in kind of the same realm." Uh,
Yes, yes, yeah. Oh, because
she's
I
in
was
this.
just hogging all her time. Because once I recognized her, I was like, "Wow, she's super tall." You wouldn't know from the video, so I kind of had a little bit. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. If there is if there is like YouTube fame, and you know somebody you've seen that has millions of viewers, you're like, I've seen you, and but I don't know your name, but you are kind of famous because you keep showing up, so I know you. And obviously, I knew other people would probably recognize her, but people can be a little bit like, well, who am I to talk to somebody? And no, the reality is we're all human. So this lady, she actually, if you, I don't know if you guys would follow her. This, her YouTube is only JS, and she started in 2019. She has 4.2 million
Oh wow,
followers.
yeah, she's up there.
Yeah, yeah. So she has a lot of followers, and she explains her channel as explaining the unexplainable, laughing through the breakdown. So she talks about a lot of things that she's
Oh,
come across that, that she's learned about, right?
because we were telling her, she's like, "Oh, where did you come from?" Because normally people at these YouTube events are mostly locals, or maybe they traveled an hour or two, and of course we're the Canadians who show up, and they're like, "Oh wow, you traveled. I want to travel, but I can't because I have pets." They were like, "Yeah, we travel with 3 dogs, so no excuses allowed."
Oh, and this lady, because she makes content, right? So I've seen it. She's these, she's got the big horse dogs. I don't even know what breed they are, but they're like the Doberman looking, like huge dogs. And then I told her we had a Great Pyrenees, and then I think that was kind of like, well, there you go. I'm breaking down your reality. In fairness, our dog has never lived in a bigger space than our trailer because we had him right from when he was a real pup. But it is interesting, right? And that was gonna. Oh, Darlene had a question. Was it Darlene? There's a question here. Yeah, what platforms to make reels? Now, I don't know if you mean like the shorts, because I use once the videos are up on YouTube, you can go to the video and then remix it, which we did that a
We
number
did
of
that
like
back. I
early
think we did
on.
that back in June. We went through
Yeah, yeah.
remixes.
So that is something we could go over again if
Yeah,
wanted. But you take you bring up your long, and then you can make little shorts from it. And then you can edit it a bit. You don't have to do anything fancy. It's already on YouTube, and then you can use the software in. It would be only on your smartphone because there's a way to make a clip on your laptop, but the clip is not a short. If you want to make an actual short, you have to do it, and you would do it on your phone, and you can take different parts of it, and it's super easy on the phone. If you're talking about a reel, like I think it's different on Facebook. I don't know how Mike does reels on Facebook. And then other
it
than that,
literally
I
just
don't use any other software besides YouTube. Like I'm super lazy since I'm not making the AI videos at this moment. I'm only using YouTube, and everything I'm editing is really only shorts. Everything I'm doing is live and brutal, and whether I look good or bad or whatever, it's just getting posted straight up. Because that's how my content has evolved. So I used to have things video pretty pre-taped, and I maybe edit. Now there's no editing, and then I'm just taking clips from my live once it's loaded. Because that is a side note to note, when you make clips or like the shorts from a live, it can take over 24 hours before you have access to your live to do that, because of how long your live is and how long it takes to download depending on your internet. So if you have really fast internet and it's not that long, it could be up very quickly and you could make shorts of it. My lives are usually at least an hour, a little bit, so I can't actually make clips till like Monday when I do it on Sunday. So that's just something to side note as well. So that is the platform. For what I use for shorts is literally only YouTube format, and then that's why we're going from YouTube and then pushing it to all the other platforms, because I'm not personally editing it outside of YouTube. um, So I guess Mike, you can answer that too for what you use, but that's the only thing I'm using right now.
I'm just using the native app, so when I'm on Facebook, it prompts any post I do, it prompts me if I want to turn it into a reel. So I usually turn it into a reel, but you can do like with you could make videos and use an editor like CapCut or something on the phone to make a short, and upload that manually to YouTube, upload it to YouTube or upload it to Facebook or upload it to whatever platform. So you can use the native app to do it or use some other video editing app to, it just depends on how fancy you want to make your shorts or your reels or your videos. Um, because some people add stickers, some people add music to them. All that stuff's doable in the native, like the YouTube app or so it just really depends on what video content you're using and if you just want to natively upload it and use those tools or if you want to put it in an editor like CapCut. And there's a many ways you could do it. Recently, my YouTube shorts have just been using the uh Sora video editor from ChatGPT, and those are like 10-second videos. They have a watermark on them, of course, but I've been uploading, like, I just go into the Sora app, make that video, download it, and then I go and use my YouTube app on my phone and upload it, just because those seem to be attention grabbing right now, but um it's just it's to make content on the days I feel lazy and I'm like, okay, I've got all this stuff to do, but I need to continuously add stuff to YouTube. My two platforms are YouTube and Facebook, and I want to focus on YouTube and grow my YouTube subscribers past what my Facebook subscribers are. And how do you do this? So this is why we go to these events and talk to these creators who have millions of subscribers, and it's like, okay, what type of content are you making where you've got millions of subscribers? And then you're talking to people, you're like, oh wow, all people are people are very similar. They're like, I'm just, you know, employed or unemployed. I don't know what to talk about, so I'm researching topics and I'm literally just putting myself on camera talking about something. But of course, it's their messaging, how they talk about a lot,
Well,
everybody
and just like with only just like that was the thing that took off was something just like the what was his name that came and talked about the documentary guy that actually got it from the unboxing that we had interviewed. What was his name again, Mike?
ask me a name this early in the morning.
I apologize, I can't remember. But the same thing where, what his content was these documentaries, but what got him like the
Oh,
views was the unboxing.
my buddy Lefty from Toronto. Yeah.
Exactly. So like same thing. Like she just shared something she learned, and then she's like, "Oh God, now I've been like put in this niche, and that wasn't exactly what I was thinking, right?" And sometimes that's just how that works out, right? If you're meant to be spotlighted and you've got whatever, it comes out that way, right? So it is interesting because, yeah, like all the creators are just humans. They're just like you and me and everyone else. And it's just like either they've done the hours and the work or had just this one right combination that they didn't even anticipate and it just brought them in that direction. And then they have a different struggle of like how do you keep relevant, right? Especially when you get 4 million viewers, right? And then you got to keep making content if you want the money coming in and keep people engaged enough that they're, you're not, you don't want to lose the viewers, right? So you got to have it engaging and relevant enough, but not, so nothing to make it, what is the word I'm looking for? Resistance, that the viewers, don't like you because you get too controversial or something like that, right? So it is an interesting process going this way and building
Okay.
content. It's not for the weak, I'm going to say.
No. And it's kind of funny. So, okay, so when we were waiting for a truck to be fixed, we were sitting at KOA, you know, our RV park in Las Vegas, and I'm always checking my surroundings and just saying, okay, this is, who's in the park. Like I got three dogs to go take for a walk, so I'm always checking my surroundings and looking to see, like, I don't usually run into that many content creators. Like, if you're at a conference, you'll see people in the hallway or whatever with the camera, and then you're like, okay, they are either on a Zoom call or they're making content, right? Because my wife will be like, Mike, you're taking photos. I'm like, I gotta take photos and make content. I gotta just do that. So I'm always looking around just to see, okay, in a room of people, who is making content, who looks like they're making content versus who's not making content, because the people on their phone likely making content, right? And then you can go introduce yourself and ask them what they were doing, and then maybe have a new friend because they're doing something you aspire to do or you're already doing. So we're in sitting at KOA in Las Vegas, and I'm like, okay, I looking at everybody's rigs. There's fancy trailers. Some people show up in uh, miniature sprinter vans. Then there's going to be the bus people, and usually bus people, usually converted buses aren't allowed in RV parks. But KOA, there's one right next to us in Las Vegas. So I was like, okay, this is super interesting. And I noticed that the couple, always on their phones because they're like literally 5 spaces from us, and it wasn't really busy.
You
So
couldn't not notice them.
you
Like,
could you
first and
couldn't you
foremost, you
you
could
couldn't.
not notice them. Let's
So
put
so
that out.
so I was like, oh wait, they're driving around on their moped with the selfie stick. So they're literally filming content while they're driving around Las Vegas. I'm like, they must be content creators, but I don't know who they are. But it's interesting. I like their rig. It's cool, and they look a little quirky. Whatever. Didn't think anything about it until we leave KOA, and then I'm like, wait a minute. That's my trailer in some internet videos. Because, of course, they were filming around the KOA, and I'm like, my truck and my trailer are in their videos, but I never followed them before, right? So I was like, oh, this is interesting. I saw them from a distance. They're making content, and now Facebook is throwing these videos up in my face that have my personal property in them. So I'm like, this is interesting.
Side note, just in case you thought you had any privacy, you
No, no,
don't,
you have
right?
no you have no privacy when you're outside your house hanging out with people. You have no idea where you're. It's not my face that shows up, it's my personal property. But I was like, hey, this is super
But also the
interesting.
fact that Facebook knows where you are and then
Well,
like
no,
even
this is
brought them up, right? As recommended because you were in the proximity of them, right? So
this
that's
is
the interesting thing.
I've had a lot of people from Arizona and Las Vegas reach out recently because they see me in the area. They're like, "Hey, do you live here?" And I'm like, "No, but if you want to hang out, let's hang out, whatever." But anyway, but the point is, just saw a bunch of content creators. So I was like, "Oh, this is cool." And then learning their stories, because I'm like, you don't really see people driving converted buses around unless they're hippies or they've got, the guy does it for a living. So he's literally documenting how he's able to do this for a living, converting old school buses into trailers, right? And he's like, I got a compound in Florida, and he's got like 100 of them that he works on at a time because there's always buyers for them. So it's like you're watching content creators in the wild at a distance, then end up randomly showing up in their videos. So of course I'm like, hey, if I see their video come across my Facebook feed, I'm gonna screenshot it and like tag them on it because I want the algorithm to send their audience to me. So
Well, and it's funny because oh my gosh, you guys, Mike inadvertently on the one was it the quartzite one, Mike? Because Mike was linking the because now that he
no,
figured
no,
out
no.
who these
Okay,
people are,
okay,
was it
okay. No, it's just because on Facebook when I go to post photos now, Facebook, because I'm monetized on Facebook, I'm monetized on YouTube. It's not thousands of dollars. It's not thousands of dollars. Facebook's now telling me that every time I post, if I allow Facebook to post it to other groups, they'll give me $5 for every post. I haven't seen it yet, but it
Okay.
just recently popped
No,
up. So
my
I was like,
point
hey,
was what happened with the couple and the lady in that group. So Mike was sharing this in which group was it that they
um,
decided that she was OnlyFans? And I'm like,
no,
Mike,
no,
you're
no.
you're
It's because
doxxed
no. They,
now
they, they,
in
they, they
another Facebook group. Seriously.
no, because I'm just, whatever. It's Facebook. So I'm like, hey, people get administrators can pull down the post. It's just Facebook's auto cross posting my posts now to a bunch of other. This is not YouTube topic, but it's just when you start making content and
You're right.
the
It's a cycle, right? It's like
I-
it's all we're
when you start regularly posting content, the platform like YouTube asks you when you post stuff if you're going to let people remix your stuff, and I'm like, please remix my stuff. Please make me more popular, right? Because
well, and then you are helping make her more popular. It was just the funny. The my point is, it was just kind of humorous about how you came across them. You're like, oh my gosh, now I see this trailer. So then you're posting about it on social media, and then the comments once you post something out into the wild that were made for this couple, so you help them for sure. But some of it you're like, oh, I feel bad
but
almost for
this
sharing it
yeah, but
because people don't know when to shut their hole, and that is the
yeah,
hard
but
part out
that's
there,
the
right? Like
that's
straight
the
up.
whole point of comments. It's like there you want comments, and they're not always going to be great. People are going to make negative comments on your post, even if the post isn't about you, right? Because I'll talk about certain things on YouTube or Facebook, and then the comments that come back, and it's like, well, this is my point of view. We're not during COVID time or stuff. Everything's banned. I'm still a Canadian resident, so I can't even post news because that will, even though I'm in the US, if I post a news article, it's going to be pulled down because of Canadian censorship laws, because we still have censorship laws, even though COVID's over, right? So just create content, post it, if you want to read through the comments, great, and respond. That will build your rapport with those other creators and boost the algorithm. Sometimes you don't want to respond to the comments because they're negative, they're off-putting, or somebody will make a comment about how you should be on OnlyFans or whatever. But it's interaction, and that's what that's what all these social media networks want. Is they want you to post stuff, and they want you to be. This is why in the YouTube, once you guys have built your YouTube channels, one of the key ways to get more subscribers is literally to go and find everyone else in your niche and comment on their channels and invite their subscribers over to your channel, because they may not you may not be suggested to them. They may, like, YouTube may not be promoting your stuff like it should be. So this is why I'm active on a lot of networks. I'm gonna be like, hey, I met this person. I'm gonna go follow them on LinkedIn and see if I can find them somewhere else. And if I Darlene's daughter Jen runs this. They run this inner circle group, which I'm part of, and they had an amazing speaker on this past week about quantum physics. And I was like, hey, I'm totally into this subject and I didn't know you existed, so I'm gonna go follow you. Go book a I'm gonna go book a Zoom. I'm gonna go book a Zoom call with you, a private one, but I'm gonna go follow you on LinkedIn and all your other platforms because I need this training and I'm super interested in this subject matter. I didn't know I was interested in the subject matter until the speaker came on, and I'm like, oh, I thoroughly, grow your networks, meet new people, and find out what topics you're interested in, because that's another way to get ideas for content. You could be like, hey, I was in Las Vegas and started, met these. I found other content creators to follow who I'm thoroughly enjoying their stuff because they live a nomadic lifestyle like I'm currently living, and they convert buses, and I wouldn't have known about them or their business until randomly showing up in the same RV park and in Las Vegas as them, and my trailer and my truck are in their videos. So I'm screenshotting and tagging them and sharing them to the world because they make money off of YouTube and Facebook, and I want them to have a bigger audience so they make more money because they're actually giving, running contests and maybe giving me ideas for what I should do with my content that I wouldn't have necessarily had before. So work together, grow your networks, find cool stuff on Facebook or YouTube or whatever, and just share it out when you may not have any. When you have a slow week or slow month for ideas, go find other people you like and share their stuff out. This is probably how people found out about us, is somebody introduced them to us and they started following us.
I think
So
you just described the 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
exactly, exactly, right? Well, it's like we went to that event. You noticed that YouTuber and started talking to her. When we've taken Penelope to YouTube events, she's like, "Oh, these creators that are amazing," and I'm like, "I don't know who these people are, but I don't watch the same content as my wife does or as my daughter does." So, it's like when I took Penelope to the YouTube event in New York, she had a great time. She's like, "Dad, I'm good. Just you go talk to your people. I'll talk to my people, Mike." Which literally means she's gonna have a great day, great event talking to people, and I'm the 40-year-old guy sitting with a drink in my hand trying to find somebody else who looks like they're interested to talk to me because I'm not as
Preparation,
extroverted as
Mike,
my daughter is.
because remember, you got questions wrong because you're so old that you actually have the right answer, but they didn't even have that in as an answer because you're so old.
That's true. That's true. When we went to the YouTube event they had a trivia contest at the YouTube event in New York. And I had the right answer, but I'm so old that they didn't even have that answer recorded. And they're like, "What do you mean?" And I'm like, "I am so old that I have the right answer, but it's not even on your question sheets because you're looking for the new name of the company, not the name from 20 years ago." So
Yeah, yeah.
I was
Phil
like,
says he found you on Redbug. Oh, the beetle. Is that what you're referencing? I believe that's what it is. Is that right? Like, I had to use my brain a little bit for that.
well, no, no,
It's been
it's funny because people are like, "Oh, hey, okay, this is how business goes, right?" You have business cards, and your business cards are going to change throughout the years, throughout the decades, whatever. Your office changes, the business name changes, email change. You got business cards. I also call people, and I have people who call me. My phone number's never changed. I've had the same phone number for 20 some years. My phone number's never changed. Email address changes all the time. And people will call me, they're like, "Do you still live over here?" And I'm like, "I haven't lived there in 20 years, but my phone number's still accurate. So what can I help you with?" "Oh, you had that red Volkswagen Beetle 20 years ago. I met you at like a food drive or a hamper. I need computer support." And I'm like, "Yes, we're still in business. And yes, I can send a technician over to you, but I'm currently not in that location, but I'll send somebody over to." So you never know where you never know where your people are going to come from, so that's why it's like, hey, your story's going to change, your business might change, your seasons of content creation may change, but it's get into new rooms and meet new people, have different conversations because some people may not be interested in tech support. You're like, "Hey, do you make content? Are you on YouTube? Are you on Facebook? How can I follow you and support you and help you if you're having a down day or a down month content wise?" Because everybody goes through it, and that's why everybody's jumping on the AI bandwagon and making a bunch of AI photos and AI videos because it's just really creativity boosts, or there were I know the meeting's coming to an end, but we did go to this book signing yesterday, and the one person, was it the lady you were yeah, it was the creator you were talking to last night, Julie, and she's like, "I want to write a book, but I don't even know where to get started." And of course, my feedback was, I'm like, "I haven't written my own book yet, but I've co-authored 4 of them. So my name and my photo is on 4 books sitting out there on Amazon." And it's really, you know, you come up with the idea. It's like coming up with your YouTube content. You come up with your ideas, you got to get everything written down because you're going to have those. I think we've talked about this when we originally started YouTube University. We're like, you're going to have all those light bulb moments. If people are like, well, I don't have anywhere to write it down, I'm like, okay, some people carry around paper with them and write down their notes. So their light bulb moments. It might be when they're going out for their morning walk or having their shower or driving or whatever. There's those moments of the day when you're getting that Zen mode, everything's working out for you, and you're like, oh, this would be a great idea. This would be a great idea. You didn't know if they're great ideas, but in that time period, they're great. They sound like great ideas. I'm like, write them down, and you're just gonna start fleshing them out. Of course, if you take on a project like writing a book, you need a couple ideas in there. But as long as you got those anchor items, those ideas, you're just gonna start writing them out, and then that's when you give it to your editor to say, okay, here's the idea. Because there's a lot of people who've come to me that like, you should do a book series, like the newest version of cybersecurity for dummies, or do something like this, or do something like this. I'm like, they're all great ideas, but it's like, I get that. It's you got to start writing and coming and come. You got to just start. You come up with the idea, and you got to just start writing and working through it. And some people might work great in a time frame, and other people that's going to completely stress them out, and they're not going to do it. So it's just like whatever type of personality you are, you know how well you work, and what time frames or no time frames you give yourself, or if you do your best writing outside or in the house or in your car or in your garage, or usually has to be distraction free, right? So it's just like you just got to start.
You know what? And the other thing that I was talking to that the content creator was about my own app. So not to promote myself, but going on what I'm actually doing. So one of the things that I'm working on, so when I'm posting about this, please do follow or to look into this. So what I'm working on and this awakened light that I've been talking about is about finding those times during the day that are the best for you. So the idea is using your charts to give you ideas of time frames that are the best days. Because some days it may not be good to literally grind at trying to make content or trying to even do something in your life. Like maybe you're like, oh, maybe I want to clean today. But if it's going to be a day where literally feels like how do I would put it in an example. I'm going to clean, but in the process of cleaning, I made another mess. So now I've just doubled my cleaning because I have to clean up the mess I made going to do a cleaning, right? So it just feels like I'm fighting. Well, if I know that in advance, can we plan our days better? So that's what I'm working on. So just if you're interested in anything, do follow me on that because that is what I am attempting what I'm going to do and I am working on is getting something to help everybody, so content creators, everybody. Like if there's times where it's like this is a good time, you're going to feel good to go out and make content. And that couple hour period is going to be your most successful time. Waste 8 hours if you can do it in two. So that's just something that is really what I'm working on. And I have to say that because that was one of the things I was talking about with this content creator is that we can we put a huge amount of expectations on ourselves, which in reality is not humanly possible, I believe. Like, I really don't. I think, especially content creators, they want to be on it, creating, and especially if that is your livelihood, making things that are going to make you money quickly. But that pressure is not even realistic. Like, never in a time have we ever lived in this, like, instant, and us having to almost be like robots. Like, I was watching a little brief documentary on Amazon employees and what is expected in the warehouse. I had no idea. Like they're expecting these to be like superhuman people moving at like these speeds that are not normal, right? So we're kind of
Or
being forced and even
for
put in our own way, right? Like
j-
it's
j-
this weird mental thing. We can't actually accomplish it all. So I think it's really this whole thing of like, can we make our time work better? So that's what I'm working on. So follow for that, anyways, as a side note. But keep that in perspective too. Like you are human, and whatever your expectations are, like perfectionism is not real, right? And we just do stuff, get yourself seen, and make the steps to create it, right? And just take back that judgment, or when you have those trolls or whatever that negative thing is, we have to find a way to just get past it, because that is going to be the blockage for everybody, is your own self-doubt and the concern of how other people are going to see you. And that's my motivational speech for the end of the day today. And then
I,
before we leave, and I
I,
want to
I,
make this,
I dropped the link for
I want to know what
your
happened to your. I want to know what happened to your hand or your arm after when we're done. I just want to let
Julie.
you know. Stay on.
Darlene was asking about your app because I know I had talked about it on my Facebook Live last weekend, and then we
Yeah.
had some people have issues getting into the Zoom room. So right now the app's in. We're looking for beta testers. It's alive on the internet, but it's not published in the Apple or Google Play Store yet. So it's live on the internet, but I dropped the link in the chat for to sign up as a beta tester to get on the email lists where we'll give you like free access to all the features, as well as we're asking like what your experience, if you're aware, you can talk about the beta tester sign up and exactly what your app covers. Because I
Well,
want you to, I want I
it's
because I'm gonna have my wife we're gonna make some YouTube shorts about accessing about because it covers Western astrology, Vedic astrology, numerology, and
I'm getting the design part into it. I'm working through it. Okay, in fairness, my app is essentially something I'm creating that is bringing all these esoteric ideas that I've thoroughly enjoyed that have a lot of value and are all numerical and bringing it into one area to help guide us. So like if there is, like I said, timing or locations, like it's bringing in all these things to essentially help guide you so you can make better choices or at least give you an idea. Like if being in a certain area is better for your career and being in a different area is better for spiritual growth, it can help you make decisions on where you're traveling, where you're living, when you do things. So that is what I'm building. And a lot of it is coming together. But of course, because I'm finding out through this is my own actual learning, and I am learning so much about myself, which is why I'm really loving this, because it's something that's helping me. So I believe everyone can be helped so much through it. And what I'm learning in my own charts is that is really such interesting things to explain why I struggle with things. So finding out that there's certain times where, like I was saying, there's no point in me fighting it. Just accept what's going on. My day's going to be easier. And then the next day is going to be better to focus on working on things. But I found out with my charts is I mirror weaknesses in systems. So I've always struggled in my entire life fighting with things going, why is this so unethical? Why don't people accomplish this? Why? And what I've discovered from mine is I legitimately have no frequency tolerance for broken systems. So I see them very clearly, very apparently, and I will find weaknesses. So I always find where a business over promises and under delivers, like all the time. And finding out that this is actually part of my alignment is weird because you guys might have seen these base 44 commercials, which is thinking your idea into existence. So essentially, they're selling you can bring any app easily into existence by thinking it. This is what they're selling. In 2 weeks, I have broken it. I got told by the system developers that my expectations of this system are not realistic through what I am building. And so now I'm legitimately in the back end going through because, I have ironically this Bachelor of Science in Computer Information Systems. I know programming. I've done it. That was my degree. So now I'm in the back end 20 some years after university doing programming on a system that I was promised I'm supposed to now be able to think my idea into existence. So this is the process of being this app developer, right? So it's interesting. So I'm sure we'll get mini versions of it. However, it is running. I'm forcing it to work to get this app so we can build this ability to just flow better in life, right? And have this ability to ask questions and get yourself a little bit deeper insight or answer questions about things that you're struggling with. Like, why am I struggling with this? Like, is it in my charts? Is it just not timing? Is it something that I shouldn't even really be putting my energy into and kind of give you more guidance? So that's really what this is. So it's a huge project of where I just keep breaking things. And that's my natural tendency. And that is what I've learned is I have a natural tendency to break things and then show where these things have apparent weaknesses. And so yes, there you go. I don't know how else to explain it.
No, but it's interesting because literally every event I go to, somebody asks me what my sign is, as like, you need to talk to my wife because I'm into astrology, right? But I'm not. I'm into it. I'm aware of it, but I'm not into it like my wife is, and how she's been developing this system to. This is what she does her lives about. So you should go follow her on her Breathe Within yoga channel on YouTube because this is what she's doing her lives about. for like I don't know how long she's been doing it for about the apps recent like we I started develop for the last couple of months we've been developing it, but she's been doing her lives with these readings for a while. And it's
Yeah.
funny because like
My part was really going in the back end and actually making it work the way I want it to work, right? Mike put it together, made it look like there was
no
things.
she
Go
told
and
me
make it work.
she told me I had to build it, and that was after I built my cybersecurity app for customers to test their system. So I'm like, this is fine. I can build the look of it, but you have to go behind it and actually make the logic work the way you want it to because you've already been doing it manually. But it would be nice for because since we have people come and ask us for, well, I really want to do a YouTube channel, but I am struggling with time, with systems. All the timing seems like there's just so much friction. And I'm like, oh, well, we've planned our life based on my
Best
wife.
timing, best time.
We've planned our life based on best timing. So we're like, okay, we want to do this, or we've got an invite to this city. What time do we drive there? Where do we find a park? And then we're just putting the information in. So when we cross borders from the US to Canada, it's like you show them the passports, they wave you through. We've never like
Because we're doing
we have very little friction when we're
exactly.
planning our business activities, and we're like, oh, but this is all based on what my wife's been playing with, and I'm like,
Yeah,
you should have an app so you can test your theories with
exactly,
a
exactly.
bigger audience.
Well, and it's interesting because, in fairness, our life does not always flow with ease completely because we still run into normal issues because there's things you can't anticipate. Like, I didn't know to ask, are we going to have a vehicle problem between driving back from Los Angeles to Vegas, right? So you still have normal life that exists. However, if
But
you're planning things
But
like us traveling,
but we
we
made it
want to,
and we didn't break down. Where last year we broke down and we
true,
weren't
because
using that
we are
system
better aligned.
last year. So
So we have more support because we're not fighting as much friction because we're planning things around times that are better. So when we're traveling, especially across borders, like I'm not gonna lie, I want to deal with authority as limited as possible. So we go, okay, well, what's our best time? And that is how we, back and forth. We can travel. And it's just like, I want to exist without being seen. That's kind of my goal in life. I want to exist to be seen by the right people, but just kind of flow, nobody else notice. And so it's an interesting because it depends on your motivation. But the more like if you have these things that you want to do, you want to travel somewhere. And I was explaining this to the creator that I was the content creator about, okay, let's say you want to go on this big trip. You know, there's trips, and we've had this experience where it's like, like just hurdle after hurdle after hurdle. That would have been my trip January last year before I was really developing this system. Going to Dubai, my flight from Mississippi to the first part of my trip. It was like layover in Charlotte. Charlotte, was that Carolina? Is that where's Charlotte? Yeah. So I got to laid over there. Well,
yes, I think so.
that got canceled because of a snowstorm and it was pushed back like a couple days. It was like rebooked like twice or once or twice. And then I eventually got there. Then I got stuck there because I never actually made it to my flight in New York. And I got pushed back and we had to rebook my flight. I eventually did make it to Dubai like 2 days later, even giving myself extra time. And it was just hurdle after hurdle after hurdle. Then there's a whole time of where okay, well, now this is an alignment. This last trip when I went to Dubai using this system, everything flowed. Except for what was interesting, I did get a delay again. And it was interesting reflecting it because I had already anticipated through the guidance what we were doing and what was best recommended. So we really didn't have any issues with this delay because it was already flowing in better time. If that even makes sense, like it goes down the woo woo, and I get that. Like, it may not be for everybody, but
I,
it is
I
interesting.
think
And
I th
Darlene, I'm glad you can appreciate how you break everything because that's a special power being able to find everything is broken and have. I've said I've been trained by reality that things don't get done until I'm angry. So I can ask things to get done, but then when I get angry, then they get done because I find out it's broken in the meantime.
well,
Go ahead, Darlene. Darlene has something to say, Mike.
yeah, go ahead, Darlene. Go ahead.
Well, y'all, a lot of y'all know Jennifer, but she does all these systems things and she'll randomly send me a text. Hey, mom, try this. And while you're at it, please try to break it. And I'm like, okay, because I don't know systems and processes, but so she sends me this little on the thing on the app or whatever it is she's doing. And I'm like, okay, well, let's click this, let's click this, let's click this. Yeah, it's broke.
Exactly. She's
So
like,
now you go fix it, Jennifer.
perfect, because you will mirror where there's weaknesses, right? Because you'll be like, the normal user is gonna do something like this and break it, right? So might as well break it now before I have to put it before we get it, too
And
far in, right?
and that's why I have so much gray hair is because I've been in tech support for 20 years, and I don't push any particular technology on any customers. I'm like, I just know that you need to have everything documented, whatever you're using, and passwords documented and backups, because somebody in your organization, in your family, or in your organization is going to break something. And if you don't know how to put it back together, that is when you're shit out of luck. But if you have documentation and an idea of what you were doing, you can easily put it back together and it's just less stress, right?
Yeah.
So it's just kind of because, people say, "Hey, Mike, my email doesn't work." And I go look at it and I'm like, "Your email does work." But but they're not using the right term. And it can be very infuriating for my technicians, very infuriating because I'm like, "Okay, I know you went there and spent 5 hours there. And this is why we gotta YouTube told me to document before my YouTube partner manager's like, okay, you need we understand in your field that it's just the way people's understanding of words and terminologies. It's like unheard lyrics where like people are using a certain word to describe something and that is not the correct word and that is confusing everybody in the situation. So you need to actually say, okay, this end user said my email doesn't work. But really, what they mean is it's not sorted or organized the way they last left it. And they probably clicked on something and messed it up. And now they've spent a week and can't put it back together. You need to decipher that language and fix it and document how you fix it. Because if they've done it once, they're going to do it a second time. They're going to keep doing it. Anyway.
No, but
My
you bring
email
up,
doesn't work
it's
either.
interesting because you bring up something as a side note. We are done the meeting, so if you want to leave, you can, or if you just
Well,
want to chat
I
here,
just want to I just
totally
want to
welcome.
acknowledge we had Phil drop in. I don't know if he sent a he I saw his video for a second. He asked me about my password episode, so I just want to say if Phil's still in the room, welcome Phil, because I'm not sure if he's been in our class before, so
Yes. Well, and
Coach Phil.
we'll put it in the YouTube. Maybe we'll send it with the email. We can send that link to within the email for next week, and
Well,
we'll put.
I'll send it to personally on LinkedIn. It's one of
Okay.
my resources I haven't talked about recently because I've been focused on building this group and building the other YouTube channels, and I'm like, oh, I haven't repurposed any of my old stuff in a while. Anyway, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's like each one.
you can go make some shorts for it, Mike. Now that it's up in the, it obviously needed to be because your only option if
Yes.
you don't want, if you hate passwords, because these are what we're coming down to. You gotta, I get it. You gotta memorize these passwords, or you're just gonna go into that digital thing. You might as well get the tattoo or the digital chip, and then it's like, what's the purpose? That you want to give them all your biometrics? Like these are the things we're going into head to head, right? Like, how do we increase security without also our sovereignty and who we are, right? So it's like, are you gonna take up that initiative? Are you gonna let them? Like, are you good with two factor? Are you taking responsibility? It's gonna be interesting how that all evolves because right now we still need passwords, right? But it'll be interesting to see where the consciousness pushes and where we
Well,
go. Right?
Well, when we send this out, I'll go drop it in the Facebook group, and then your link to sign up for your. I think I'm not sure if we've dropped your to sign up as a beta tester for your app because we want feedback because we need to make some video content about my app I've developed. We have the YouTube app still coming. It's live right now, but it's really just to sign up for this class. We're building we're building a bunch of apps right now, and we need some
Well, and
beta testers for everything.
like Mike needs to make because clearly he was talking about at the beginning before we started all this about all the stuff we've discovered through our trips around the US, right? So there was this compendium that is no longer really getting updated. And then there's all these other things that, so we're literally scraping the web to get information. And then we're going and verifying if this information is real. And I'm like, you need to make that as an app. Like, we need a new updated app with that for people that want to do this, right? Where is it that you can easily travel to? I'm like, because clearly if we're looking for it, and then he's been on forums where people are asking, because there was one of them where they were asking, where are you traveling when you're not here for the South,
And
like
then
in the one area for the South, right? So I'm like,
and
Mike, you're obviously, people are looking for that info. So you need to put that there and start, like, I think a lot of the stuff we're doing and a lot of things we're interested in, there is people that want it and are looking for it, and somebody has to do it. So if you don't do it and you're waiting for somebody else to do it, I don't know if it's going to happen, right?
I don't know. I did
I
run
was
into
saying,
that. I did run into that when I went to Camping World in Las Vegas looking for some parts. I did run into that couple that was driving all the way from Las Vegas to Florida, and it was their first time with the trailer, and the people at Camping World were giving them horrible advice, so that I pulled them aside and I'm like, don't listen to anything Camping World just told you. Here's my phone number. Try these couple different apps, because I didn't have my own app to give them. And I was like, just go slow and don't yell at each other. Just make it to Florida. Just go slow, because I don't like the truck you're pulling with. And this
they
is
really,
brand new experience for both of you. So
they did, and it brand new, never did it, and they really did not have an appropriate vehicle for what they're doing. And then, and the topper, Mike, come on, you didn't see the topper. After Florida, they were planning to go to Canada for like
no,
January.
they said they were gonna drive to Toronto in January, and I'm like, once you don't want to go, you don't want to drive in snow. No, and you're gonna freeze. No, you don't want to do that.
I don't know. And I'm like, okay, people,
Come
they're
on,
so clearly there's a lot of help needed in this world. So whatever you can offer, just put out your wisdom, because, yeah, And so, Rittenhauer, what happened to your hand, your arm? What did you do to yourself?
I'm shoveling.
And I'm nosy, so I'm telling you that.
I just I hadn't been for a walk for a while, because and I decided to do a walk, after our snow, and
Hmm.
so I made it through just about the whole 3 miles that I normally walk, and I made it back to the park, and I had to, in order to go on the street, I had to go over a hump of snow, and
Mm.
some
Aw.
somehow I didn't make it. I went down.
Aw. How is it? How are you doing with your arm? Is it okay? Like, did you break it?
It's Well, they said I fractured. It's not. It's nothing I have to do a surgery for or anything like that. It's just I'm gonna be like I'll be like this here for what, about a month probably.
Okay, you know what? I find this interesting. So we had almost like a repeat of last year, but not as bad. So if we think about it, like, last year we had our truck breakdown, but that really put us out months, right? Then this year we had a mini version of it where it took us out like a week with a small and thing we could actually replace. David, last year was like the whole your leg thing that put you out, and now this is like a mini version of it this fall. That is weird. I'm just saying there must be some kind of like cyclical energy this year, but not quite as bad as the year before, but not pleasant either.
Yeah, because just before you stayed here last year, I was trying to unload a storage bin, and I threw out because I lifted too much stuff.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, it's interesting. I feel like the energies of these years, it's like it's a progression, but it's like a cyclical progression for some of us. Just kind of weird. Well, take care of yourself. How long do you have to? How long did they anticipate, or like when do you go in to get checked?
I don't know. I got to go back on the 23rd for them to check it out, and then possibly the 6th of January, and see how far it goes. It's, it's pretty good because I've been able to go like this. So
Mm-hmm.
hopefully that helps. And
Well,
I got some little hand weights, so I'm gonna try to get some more strength into it.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Like you again, we've talked about it. Be mindful. You want to move it because that is going to help because the blood flowing around it and stuff. You want to move it, but you don't want to overdo it, right? And so it's like just being aware that it's not, you haven't lost your limb, you know.
And I don't have to have surgery, so I don't have to worry about that. They were more worried
But
about the arthritis than anything else.
exactly. At least you don't have to go in for that. Like that's awesome. At least that wasn't that bad. But it sucks that it happened. Like but it
That's
does.
all.
You keep surviving, right?
Yeah.
Uh, okay, I guess
Everybody's
time to
leaving, so it's time to shut down the class. We will see you next Saturday, which I think is my birthday. So we'll see you on my birthday next Saturday.
Oh, okay. Have a great
Yeah,
week. Have a
yeah,
great
yeah.
week.
Well,
then.
Oh, I
yeah,
if you got time, um, our last two meetings on Mupo,
yeah.
they we can hear Michelle just fine, but every time we talk, we're you know we're really bad.
Just you or everybody
We're echoing.
else?
It's everybody.
Mm.
Michelle's fine, but everybody that talks is um
Is it echoing?
is echoing.
It's because she's got two microphones on her end. I wonder if she's connected on her phone. Is she in the meeting room twice or?
No, she's not in the meeting room twice.